Hey, Dad? Where did babies come from? Like how did I get here?
Well, you see, son, the stork brought you. That's right, flew you right down into our arms.
Oh, I get it now. Hey, Pops. How are babies made? How did I get here?
Well, you see, son, the stork brought you.
Oh, that's what you're going with?
Well,
Because according to this, babies are made when a man sticks his...
give that to me! Gosh!
It's lazy time and we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review Black and White movies and comics too. Let's all go watch Hello everybody, I'm LazyD99 and welcome to another movie review. Today we are looking at Storks, brought to you by the Warner Brothers Animation Group, otherwise known as WAG. This is their second film after they did the Lego movie, and so Storks. Now, this is a movie about a guy, or a bird, a stork, obviously. His name is Junior. I don't even remember if we find out what his regular name is, but he's about to be promoted to the head of the stork company. The storks used to deliver babies to people because they have a magic baby making machine, but they've decided to end that business. They're not in that business anymore, and they're just delivering packages. They're basically Amazon. Anyway, he finds out that he's going to be promoted, and he's going to be the new boss of the workplace, of the stork factory. The only hiccup is, in order to be boss, he has to fire this girl who was orphaned because her device to find her parents was destroyed when she was a baby, so she was raised by the storks, and now she's becoming a little bit of a nuisance, and she's 18, so she's good to go, so they're going to just send her on her own, so he has to fire her. But he doesn't have a heart to do it, so he just bandages her to this section of the factory, which they don't use anymore, with the letter department, where people sent the letters when they wanted a baby, and this boy, who has become very lonely in his family because his parents are always working, sends a letter to get a sibling. He wants a new sibling, so he sends the letter because his parents won't tell him how babies are made. And the girl gets the letter, accidentally starts up the machine, they make a baby, and so now the guy has to cover up that they made this baby, so they have to quickly deliver it while not showing anybody else at the workplace that a baby was born. And it's a journey where Junior and this girl have to go and deliver the baby, hijinks ensue, things happen along the way, yada yada yada. Okay. Now that I've said all that, what did I think about this movie? When I first saw the poster for this movie, my initial response was the rolling of the eyes. Because kind of like how I showed in my opening sketch, kids kind of know now where babies come from. At the very least, they have a much better idea they did when I was a kid. I mean, my parents never fed me the storks brought you line. In fact, quite the opposite. My mom basically just spelled it out. Look, I still don't know when people say, oh, did you ever hear about the birds and the bees? I still don't know what that means. My mom just said, this is what a man has, this is what a woman has, and this is how it goes together. And I'm just like, gosh, you could have sugarcoated it a little bit. But anyway, let's get back to the movie. While my parents never told me the storks brought you line, I know that there were some people who were feeding that line to the kids their kids when I was young. I don't really think parents do that now, really, because I think they kind of just avoid the topic till their child is old enough, but kids much sooner, much more quicker nowadays have an understanding of what sex is and what that does. They may not know exactly how to do it or in what way or anything like that, but they have an idea that something happens. And it's not some mystical being from the sky. So I kind of thought the idea is already dated. The whole idea of storks bringing babies to parents, that's really a really dated idea that I'm not sure is going to relate to today's audiences. But I decided to see it and just give it a shot, because animated movies, I like to give it a shot and to see what they can do. And since the last movie that this company made was the Lego movie, which I was a really big fan of, I decided to, see what was what. This movie, yeah, that's basically the best way I can describe it is, I mean, if we're going to quickly go over the pros and cons, pro, humor. It's actually quite funny. Con, story. We've seen this stuff a million times. If it's not exactly this way, it's the guy that's trying to get to the top of the corporate ladder, and then one thing goes wrong, and he has to try to cover it up, and while he's trying to fix that, he realizes that, oh, this is actually the right way to do things, and he starts out a jerk, and then he turns into a nice guy by the end of it because he's with an optimistic person with an optimistic point of view. So it's a con. I've seen that story before. Pro, the animation is actually pretty nice. Con, the characters are not very memorable. I mean, the bad guy is a corporate guy who wants to make money. And then there's like one character that is so annoying that it's just a typical, talks like a surfer dude for no reason. Pro, there are some, the humor is like so fast-paced that it can go, and it hits you. And there's a lot of creativity in some of these things, especially the wolves. Con, the pacing is so fast. Everything seems forced. Like the emotional moments seem forced at times. The humor, while the fast pace benefits it at sometimes it's slow. It's so fast that you're like, whoa! You didn't really have time to set that up. You just went for it. Anyway, I forgot which pro or con I'm at, but one of the things I will applaud this movie for is how they, I was thinking when I was saw in the trailer, I'm like, okay, if Storks did deliver kids, and now they don't anymore, how are they going to say we still have children? Because are they going with the whole Storks are the only thing that make children? And to the film's credit, they do actually have some fun with that. When the kid asks, like, how are babies made, it's kind of funny because the parents can't even say the old lie of, oh, the Storks brought you. They're like, he's like, what's funny? What is funny? And they can't say that because now the Storks don't deliver babies, and he's kind of in a position of like, he's just confused, and the parents don't know what to say. It's really interesting in that point. And there's a moment like, why do you think we stopped delivering babies? And he's like, because there's so much more easier ways to make babies. And he's like, exactly. I'm like, okay, so you established that you can't get them the old-fashioned way. Although, just a side note, if we lived in a world where Storks had a magic machine that would make babies, I think that, regular childbirth would be like a thing of the past, because you have all these women that would be like, what? I don't actually have to get pregnant to get a baby? I don't have to go through hours and hours of screaming, torturous childbirth? Okay, I'm up for that. So where's my contract? I will sell my firstborn child that I bore myself so I can get a new one that is pain-free. Okay, that might be taking a little far, but you know what I mean? It's just like you would, it wouldn't matter what the Storks cost, they would still be making more money by just making babies. For the characters, the only one that I actually really like is the orphan. What's her name? I gotta look it up. The orphan Tulip, played by Katie Crown. She was a lot of fun. I love that because she was a girl that was raised by these Storks and just stuck in this factory her whole life, has no clue of the outside world, really. She's just kind of crazy. Like, there's a scene, and it's probably the funniest scene in the movie, where she's just talking to herself. She just starts talking to herself, literally, like, hi, how are you? I am fine. How are you doing? Then all of a sudden it spirals and she comes into a whole bunch of different characters. She just goes from one character to the other until they start arguing with each other, and then those characters go to counseling, and then when she gets the letter, she's like, oh man, how am I going to deliver this letter? I was supposed to never leave this room. And then another version of herself, pretending to be the janitor, goes, oh, I'll cover for you. She's like, why, thank you. And then she runs off and just like, that was great. I wish there was more stuff like that throughout the entire film, of her just going nuts sometimes. There was a funny moment where, like, the baby crying, and it shows, like, the motherly, womanly instincts that's been built in her through all the years of motherhood that is just built into her, and then it just kicks in, and that was a good moment. They do have a lot of good humor poking at the tropes of raising a child. How her and the stork have to, work together like parents in order to take care of this child. There's a moment where they're like, okay, just rock the baby a little bit more. Can we stop now? No, her eyes aren't closed. Her eyes aren't closed yet. Oh, come on. Can't we just duct tape them closed? It's like, no. Just rock it a little bit more. A little bit more. And she starts crying again. I have a feeling this movie would be a lot funnier if I was married and I was raising a kid. I'd be able to relate to a lot of these jokes more. But I can only relate to them so much because I haven't lived these things. I've only known that they happen, sort of thing. So, overall, I think the movie is a pretty mixed bag. The story is typical and predictable from beginning to end, and I think they gloss over some of the things for this typical story that they just skip over. Like, we don't really see that this character, Junior, why is he called Junior? Who is his father? You know, if you're going to name your character Junior, that usually implies that you're going to have him, like, always trying to aspire to be like his dad or something like that. But there's nothing like that. His dad isn't in this film, and it's just, he's named Junior. Okay. But anyway, like, normally you have these types of characters where, like, they've worked their entire life for this thing, and they're just about to get, and this one thing goes wrong. And he's like, God, if only this one thing didn't go wrong, my life would be fine. You know, that's the type of thing they're going for. The only thing, they don't really build up that this guy's wanted to be boss his whole life. They don't say, like, oh, all I've wanted to do is run the company. You know, they don't really do that. And that, to me, I think is a misstep, because you need to have the passion in order to feel sorry that the thing he's tried so hard for is about to get taken away from him. The movie, I just think, it's mediocre. That's what I think is the thing. I've seen these types of movies before and better. One of the things that this reminds me a lot of is Arthur Christmas. But Arthur Christmas was better because, A, Arthur wasn't a pain in the butt like this Junior guy was. I think that's the type of character they're going for. Like, he's the stick in the mud. I didn't really get that, but he kept on saying stick in the mud things, but it didn't feel right to me. But anyway, Arthur Christmas is just a better character because he's more fun. And, you know, they're on the journey to get this one thing to this one destination, and something's trying to stop him, so on and so forth. I think that it's trying to be Arthur Christmas, but it's missing some of the steps. For one thing, Arthur Christmas being around Christmas time, it was able to relate to you on a more emotional level because of the holidays. This, I think, is trying to tug at your heartstrings with the kids stuff, and it can only do it so much while its plot is so paper thin that I've seen it before. So, I think Storks is okay. Like, I think I would prefer to watch this over, you know, like, The Secret Life of Pets. But I wouldn't want to watch this over Zootopia or Finding Dory or any of the other, well, those were really it. It's really it for animation. I guess there was the Kobo and the Two Strings, but I hadn't had a chance to see that movie. I was going to review it, but it never came to my theater, and the nearest theater besides the one in my town is like 2 hours away. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to give Storks a 5 out of 10. It's an average film. There's some parts that are funny, some parts that are enjoyable, but it's pretty just That's about it, you know? Some parts of it are creative, other parts are typical. Some parts are funny, some parts just don't hit a home run. The pacing is so fast that it just zooms by, doesn't take any moments to slow down. Even when they're trying to take a moment to slow down, it feels rushed and just goes by, and everything feels forced because of that. So, the movie doesn't feel natural, the characters don't really feel natural, everything kind of feels forced, but there's nothing too much, like, wrong with it. There's only one character that I found really, really annoying because of the whole over-the-top stupid they were trying to go for. But beyond that, the movie's just okay. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'm LazyDude99. Have a good night, or morning, or whenever you're watching this. I don't care.
Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel, and wait for more coming soon.